And how about that? We are ready to start. Yay. And we're also very excited to have two people in the classroom with us. You guys want to say hi? Do you want to say hi, actually? Are you guys furiously working on some things? This class? No other classes going on, right? Okay, no. I'm just easing us into this thing where we may or may not be talking. And what I want to make very clear is that this is not a final review. I actually don't know exactly what this is. It's a live on YouTube session. We're going to go through the public feed on our Discord that we used primarily for this class called Advanced Computational Workflows, which we affectionately referred to as workflowers. And I'm going to take a look at what is there, what narratives kind of happened during the course, and I'm going to ask any of us who are here in whatever capacity to participate if they want. We're also welcome any kind of participation, whether you are on Discord and you were in the class. I know some of you are doing your final reviews for Studio at this time. It's a very busy time. I will be watching for that. I also welcome anyone to sign in halfway through. We're just going to do this for about an hour or so. And also, as you can see, we are doing this from one of our computer labs, room 407 at the BAC. The other computer labs that are over there, back there, over there, and over there are also currently watching this as they furiously do their own work. So we might get some excitement going on and see if anyone wants to ask any questions and join us in this room. But first, we're going to take a look at some things and go over what is there. So unless anyone wants to participate and say something right now.
Excited?
You're excited?
Yeah. It was nice to have this class. Yeah, since I know a lot of you and my design approach changed significantly. Yeah. My design approach changed significantly, and I find a new approaches. Yeah, by the using a new software. Yeah, and for that. Yay.
Lauda, do you want to say anything?
I'm going with the flow. I'm excited to see what happens today. The class was definitely fun. And there were so many different ways that something could have happened based on what we're going to be seeing on the public feed. So I'm very excited to go over it live and not by myself.
And check things out, right?
Yes.
Now, I have a question for the two of you here. Thank you for being here, by the way, on this very busy studio review week. I'm just going to assume that you decided that this is much more important than your studios. Or maybe not. Or maybe you don't have studios. Because we are all in different spots. And I want to just acknowledge, right, that the work we're doing, regardless of whether you were on site with us during the class, we were online in this same room, and we also did a lot of things asynchronously. We kicked off a couple of things in this classroom. We met in this classroom, many of us, some of us met in my office, and some of us met virtually, and some of us only chatted via Discord. So all the options all the time, which I think is appropriate for a class called Advanced Computational Workflows. I will stay away from talking about that too much. But for those of us in this classroom, if you guys are interested in sharing your screens, which you might have something there, I would ask you to sign into the Zoom for this class. And I will say that that is actually not the same Zoom link we used before. We are using bacd.me/Zoom. So let's have you do that. You won't have the option of joining audio and stuff. And while you do that, I am going to share and show what this Discord looked like.
Can you repeat the link?
Yes, I can. And I can actually do one better, which is to put it up on the screen. So just give me 1 second here. And can you grab that mic real quick, Laura? And maybe ask. You can throw it.
Cool.
And sorry, what did you, well, this is a new format, right? Us
I was
doing this?
wondering if you can repeat the Zoom link.
Got it. All right. I'm going to share my screen here.
Thanks.
And we're going to go to bacd.me/makebabies so that I can say we go to www.bac. Let's make that a little bigger. bacd.me/Zoom. Julia, thank you for joining us there. We also have some presenter stations. We can also use this computer over here. But what I'm going to do really quickly, as my brain keeps up with having like 1,000 screens in front of me right now, is I want to talk about the use of Discord for this and in general. The BAC, Department of Digital Media Education, does run a Discord server called BACD.me, which does stand for Boston Architectural College Digital Media Education, which I believe is important. And it also is somewhat of an acronym that is helpful for remembering that BAC Digital Me, or it is a place to direct message me, Peter Atwood. And that's what you're seeing here. You're seeing this channel. You're seeing that there's this icon here. I'm sorry, this channel here for me. Peter, you can go and post an emoji on this that you think represents me. I'm really interested in building that out, but please reach out to me and even consider sending me a direct message. I am currently, by the way, on a different account. We're logged in as BAC Digital for the purposes of this demonstration, but I am very active on here and I really encourage you guys to reach out to me there. Also on this is a bunch of resources you guys can look through. There is a public feed, which we will see. I actually just posted this, which was from this room earlier. One of our students who did leave to go to their review was working and they crafted this really interesting model. And I would like to encourage everyone else to post as much as they would like on this public feed to see what we can get from our community. There's actually a bunch of things here that I find very interesting. And I am going to ask anyone who's participating to somehow communicate what they want me to search for. And that includes the people in this room and anyone who might be in the chat and anyone who might be on YouTube watching, or another room at the BAC and they want to run into this room. Does anyone want me to search for something on the BAC DME public feed?
Scale.
Scale. All right. We have scale. I wonder how this compares to this. Seems like maybe giraffe is more targeted at the urban scale. Let's actually just see what that is about.
Like a real animal giraffe?
Is that about a real giraffe?
I don't know.
I don't know either. What is giraffe?
I thought it was an animal.
Ah,
Wait,
interesting.
is
Well,
that
let's
not how you spell the animal? Oh, I don't know anymore.
giraffe. Let's just like do this and then go and Google search giraffe. That is a giraffe. What are 5 interesting facts about? Okay. That was actually leading towards Peter wanting to do a course that is just how to Google things. I might give it a different title as opposed to things, stuff, or a word related to stuff. But what's interesting about what Dylan posted here, very neat. I wonder how this compares to this, which I will open up off on the side here. So Dylan is comparing it to this. This is not necessarily suggesting that we're endorsing this or anything, but we are going through links. We will be doing this, and I'm using this as an example of what we're going to do in this class. Better decisions, faster platform for design automation. That seems pretty interesting. And then as we follow, I'm not sure if they are called breadcrumbs or whatever these are called, but we see that hello from Peter at everyone, which I try to use sparingly. I posted, hello everyone. Recently, one of our spectacular community members who may or may not be on Discord yet sent me an email about a tool that I have only heard about and now very interested in. And Laura, since you kind of prompted us, is this a giraffe? There's a giraffe.
Yeah.
And what do you think this tool is? It looks like, okay, I'm gonna log into this with just digital media. Let's start an account there. Do you have any insight into what this app.giraffe.build is?
Well, the comment on Discord said that giraffe was more related to the urban scale. So I'm going to use common sense and go with the thing saying that it might be a software to design those things or to understand that.
Yeah, and I'm actually gonna not sign up for this right now because, I just don't feel we're streaming and I don't have streaming mode on, or I do, but whatever. But here's like this, which we're gonna turn off. And we're gonna let the ads play. This is how this works. I don't know if this is what you're supposed to be doing on YouTube or not, but in this video, which I found helpful, it's a tool to kind of go through and use Rhino urban planning. I think it's pretty interesting. And what was even more interesting about this reach out and why I posted it to, let's close our search, to our public feed, is that the student noticed in this sign up here, when they did this sign up and got through it, they noticed that a name they were using associated with the BAC was already used. And so they were asking me, do you know of anyone who is using it? And I didn't. I reached out to our academic technology team and we talked about it and they said, well, we're not sure. This is an open thing, but this is a perfect example of how our community can bring stuff to our attention and start to connect on these things. So thank you, Laura, for asking about that.
No worries.
Why did you want to do scale?
I don't know. It was the first thing that came to my mind. A lot of people struggle with it sometimes. Oh, I was struggling at work to scale a floor plan in AutoCAD because I work in centimeters. So I was trying to, I don't know, it was weird. Like, I mean, it was also weird because it was a PDF rather than a DWG. So like, I don't know, it's just still very recent in my head. I was very frustrated, but I was able to figure it out.
And I think you figured it out with the help of someone potentially.
I mean, yeah, I did text Peter on Discord because I was like, it doesn't make sense. Like I already did everything that I already knew about scale and it's not working. And I don't know, the file was weird.
Yes. And I'm also doing something very important, which is renaming your guys's screen name to work flowers, as you guys are work flowers. This course is about workflows, which is the joke there. But I think this is a great way to introduce this, which is reaching out to people, right? Reach out, ask for support. And with classes like advanced computational workflows, making and modeling, spatial thinking, Revit, Rhino, I really would like to see more people getting past that anxiety of saying, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not going to post this. It's not ready. Take note of it and take note of it for our group of peers. And that's a lot of what we did in this class. So please think about taking more notes of what you're doing and understanding something that I've learned after like, I don't know, let's go with 20 years of using digital media robustly or for spatial design or similar things, is that we have a misconception that everything we do with digital is saved forever. That also participates in this whole thing that you might have heard from someone, maybe your parents, is that the internet is forever, right? You post something on the internet and then it goes and you don't get the job. Actually, I think it's very opposite. I think that what we do digitally actually has the tendency to fade, to go away, and we can't find it again. So taking note of things, even something as simple as posting something to a Discord channel, you might go back to it, or people might say, hey, that's cool. All right, now, unless there are any questions, comments, or things, while Peter just makes sure he has everything up on screens, we're going to get into what is it? What are we calling this? What do you guys want to call this? Work flowers. This session, what we're doing.
I like using the word flowers title on it, but it has to be something like impactful after that. Julie, what do you?
Yeah, it's like putting drains in the air for new ideas in the future. It's like combination, like selection. Yeah.
Okay, so can you guys, you guys are on Zoom? Can you put stuff in the chat? Like, please just like post a name. I'm going to rename this on YouTube to whatever we decide to be the name of this session. And this is where Peter desperately needs co-moderators and co-participants on these things, so there's not dead air. There isn't. If I'm not talking, you guys should be talking.
Same.
Sure, go for it. I also want to give a shout out to Takbir Fatima, who is going to be, well, I don't think everything is fully resolved yet or whatever words we're going to use, but Takbir has taught with me. You'll see her in some of the other videos on YouTube for a while, and she's going to be taking over this course for me into the future. And so we are really excited to hear her comments asynchronously, stuff like that. And thank you, Takbir. Now, I am just waiting for our work flowers to determine a name.
I'm asking ChatGPT.
Oh, you're asking ChatGPT.
Yes.
I very much appreciate that. So as ChatGPT helps us determine a name for this, let's take a look, and I'll do my intro to, oh God. All right. So this is the public feed for the BAC-DME Discord server, and we're going to jump over to the advanced computational workflows. And we're going to look at this public feed, which looks like this. Let's close some of our tabs up here. We don't need those. And I'm just going to give it a scroll, because I think it is pretty impressive. And I think we have definitely done a decent amount of work here. I also see that we have many answers as supplied by Lauda. No, ChatGPT. And I'm going to put those out on the screen because I would like to see them. But I do want to just take a moment to scroll through the work that we have done in this class. And I want everyone to acknowledge how much amazing work we did and how much amazing work these work flowers, the students, did for the class. There. Oh, by the way, there is New Nomad. That is Takbir. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Takbir.
I am an architect and adjunct faculty at the BAC, which is correct. She is much more than that as well. Again, look to some of my other things. Part-time, I'm a part of Design Aware, the BAC CEPT University. She is located primarily in India, Hyderabad, I believe. And we are very happy to have her participation in this and her future participation as she takes this over. Let's just get to the top here. We'll scroll a little sooner. And we also are going to take the time. We are only going to do this for an hour. All right, so this is the start of our conversation. We have this amazing hat. This is not a workshop, which is why, well, it is a workshop. No, this is not a workshop. It is a class as a part of the digital media education department. But it is not officially a workshop, and I almost always wear hats when I do workshops. So I do post this. You can see I use them. And then we just see us all saying hi. So we have Lauda, who is here. You want to wave real quick? Julia, you are here as well, and represented by the hello there cat. We have John, who is also here, not here with us, but here on Discord, and some great posts. We have me, who decided to post this for whatever reason. John then decided to post this. Thank you, John. Lauda, trust me, I'm a professor. This is going great. All right, and then we moved on, right? And we also have some additional participants here. I just want to comment on, right? We have Connor, Kate, the Midjourney bot is joining us, John, Oria. And so everyone here, I'm not going to go through like formal introductions, but we will see their names. And I do want to acknowledge everyone's participation in this. And I also want to, again, acknowledge that this is a new format that we're using for this kind of demonstration. So everyone can be potentially a bit patient with this format. We use the public feed primarily. I posted resources, announcements throughout the semester. This one actually, you don't have, oh, interesting. I left a setting there. And then we have the assignments that we work through, and I just want to demonstrate. We're not actually going to talk about these. I just want people to ask questions, maybe about the course format, why we're using Discord. We used it primarily, actually entirely for this course. We did a bunch of recordings. You can see there's John, first day of class. Then I posted some recordings that was actually from the first session of this course. We can see some other recordings where we are doing basic geometry introduction. You can see I kidnapped Lauda in the background of that recording, who helped me with that. This is from my office. And then more of these as we work through these very complex workflows. The other thing we did is after working through a lot of our assignments, we developed basic geometry, trying to go back and say, what is it that we're doing, voting on different things. We're not going to linger on this. This actually didn't develop in the same way it did in the previous one. Me and Takbir will actually probably do another live session similar to some of the other live sessions we've done, where we go through and examine many of these things at like kind of a top level. But I really do want to, again, focus back on the public feed, go through this. We're going to scroll all the way to the bottom. And that is how I am going to kick off this conversation. Before we do that, we have to name this. So we'll go to bacd.me, make babies, and we have some options here for the names. We have those options, and we have these options. That's a lot. Lauda, what did you do?
What do you mean?
Like, what are we looking at?
Well, I told ChatGPT to give me options. To give me different. Oh, well. I told ChatGPT.
I think, can you drink some more of that, please?
So I told ChatGPT to just give me a bunch of different options, and now I just realized that I type work slower rather than work faster.
You typed work slowers.
But then whatever, that S is supposed to be an F. You get the sense, you get the vibe.
So if we like do an equation over here, how would you write that? Like S equals F?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
And then do we put, I forgot my math, because this course is actually a lot about doing these things. Work, we'll just do an asterisk. I don't know if that makes sense, but
An asterisk means a multiplication, but yeah, makes sense.
keep going.
Okay. So yeah, I just told ChatGPT to give me a bunch of different options, and then the first message I wrote was like, I need a name for a session, and I'm just gonna read this like as I type it because I realized that I didn't know how to type. So I said, I need a name for a session and YouTube related to workflows and for it to be impactful. And then it just gave me it gave me one option that I didn't like. It says workflow mastery, a streamlining success. And I just said, give me options, dude. And it gave me a bunch of different type of options. And then I just put them on the chat so we could decide if we like any of them.
All right. Yes. And then I have this other suggestion that comes from who put this impactful workflower gains? All right. You want to? Yes. Thank you. Play. Oh, we're going to play past the mic. Go for it, Julia.
Impactful workflow drains. It means like we are now studying something and we are like can like introduce something for new generation and be useful and use like a previous information to produce something new, unique, and inspire others to create. Yeah, very like great job. Yeah, I think yeah, this like endless process of education and yeah, we don't know where we are now. We are like in the beginning of our journey or in the end, but this is journey process.
This is great. Now, do we feel comfortable naming our session right now?
Yeah.
Yes? And let's just give a moment for anyone who wants to participate in this. And that means posting in the chat. Now, there is a delay on YouTube, so when we do this, we will give it like a 15-second time, which I'm just using my voice to not have dead air. And in the 5 seconds we have left, how do you guys feel about this format?
I like it. Yeah, friendly conversation.
Cool. I would love to see if anyone else at the BAC is interested in what's happening, as this is on 3 different computer labs. All right, there are no comments there. So this is what we get to work with, and I will leave it for the 2 of you workflowers to fight out what we name this class. Go for it. You don't have to fight. You can discuss.
Well, I think that impactful should be in the name.
Okay.
Because that's what we've been mentioning. And the water flowers have to be there too.
Not work slowers.
No, we agree. It's a math equation.
All right, so I'm going to put this over here. Oh, I got to make this bigger. So we definitely want impactful
Yes.
in here somewhere. Impactful,
Water flower too has to be there.
work flower, ers,
Yes.
and then Julia, can you, since Lauda picked impactful from yours, can you pick something from this craziness, this chaos that Lauda posted?
So. I'm sorry.
Wanderers. Let me find that. Wanderers. All right. I like this too. This is actually one of my favorite words. Wanderers. However, is it wanderers or wanderers? Do we wander and wonder? Is it wandering? Is wandering with an A?
As in one, as in Harry Potter one?
What, like as in Harry Potter wand? Like wand? You just went straight to Harry Potter. I meant wandering, like traveling aimlessly from place to place. Hmm.
I learn how you want to.
Go ahead. You can put it wherever you want. And then Lauda, you had suggested that it was like wand. Wow. Wand. Wandering? No, see, it's the same
I
thing.
thought that it meant like, no,
A slender rod used in performing magic.
yeah,
Hmm.
I thought that it just meant like, I don't even know, no, it's stupid, I don't want to explain it.
Well, I don't think it's stupid, but for the sake of time, we are going to move on. I'm going to suggest we do this as our name. How do you guys feel?
I like it. We all contributed.
All right, so this is the name. We're going to leave it like that. We will rename the video. We all contributed. I remember a previous session where one of the students' primary tasks was to be the namer of things. You guys can actually check that out on the YouTube channel. And now let's go back to this. So I actually would like Lauda to navigate through what Julia has posted.
Oh, I need to open this word.
So yes, and I would like you to screen share.
Oh, right now?
Yep. So get ready, open Discord, and then I'm going to have you screen share. And what I did while you're doing that, and you can feel free to just like speak up and talk to me and say, I'm ready. Or just, I don't know, talk to me in the chat. I can hear you in my ear if you whisper really quietly. Okay. Okay, before you do that, this is going great. Before you do that, what I prompted everyone to do in my announcements, the most recent announcement, right, was to craft a narrative, essentially. And Julia has done a good job. Now, Julia, thank you, by the way, for posting this down here. This looks really interesting. Yes?
Yes.
And I'm going to have Lauda use these links, right? For example, we saw like I'm up here, Peter said, you know, all these different things, and we're going to use this as a choose your own adventure. So, Lauda, go for it. Choose your own adventure. And I'll have you screen share.
My own wonder.
Wander. Are you going to wonder and wander with a wand?
Yes.
Perfect. And please do talk.
Hi all, flower emoji. Today I am happy to share results of our fun adventure. I am not saying my adventure because some brave thoughts of my classmates inspire me to look at the process differently. And therefore, my workflow looked like a bay into, wait, what? And therefore, my workflow looked like a bay into which many rivers flowed. Let's sail from the last stop, surface that was created by two curved and lofted lines in diameter. Love it. Can I just click whichever I want? Yeah. Cool. Okay. This is cute. It is very cute.
It is very cute.
It reminds me to a tile design.
It reminds you, okay, a tile design.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, this is exactly what I want. I want you to just stream of conscious, say what it reminds you of. It looks like you're looking tile. Is that a tile?
Sure.
Sure.
This. Very interesting.
Could you try and see what it's not called a tile design. We're using a very specific tool, and I'm not sure if that tool came into your work. You might know. Do you know the name of the tool?
I don't think so.
Okay, could you try and figure out what the name of that is by using the public feed there? And I'm actually, in some ways, Julia, I'm watching you, right? In some ways, this is actually kind of like, I'm going to say this in two different ways because it is both at the same time. It is sort of a test. right? I'm sort of allowing the participants of the class to demonstrate what they've learned. Eh, Yes, and now here, Lauda, I'm gonna have you talk about this and investigate and speculate on how that might integrate into a workflow based on what you're seeing. Because as we use the public feed in this class, there are topics and concepts that don't go into everyone else's projects, right? Or the collective project. So I am actually saying explicitly that even though this is a demonstration by our students, and also our students participated both synchronously and asynchronously, both online and on-site. So not everyone is here. That does not mean that they are not representing or doing their work. But you guys might have missed things, and here is now the chance to relate it to the work you were doing. So Laura, what is this Voronoi thing? What have you learned about it, and how does it relate to something you did in the class? And from there, I'm going to have Julia, you can work on this, find something as Lauda is talking that she posted that you think is related.
I am not sure I've used the Voronoi tool before. I've definitely heard of it. Like, I feel like it's not the first time that I've heard that,
Yeah.
throughout the class. I'm trying to see what it does, though. I'm looking at the different things that is like points, radius, boundary, and place. And I wonder if that is related to like all of the different type of shapes that are happening here. But then it also makes me wonder whether it's random or no. Like, is the pattern that is getting repeated by a bunch of pentagons on purpose? Like, do you choose every single side to be on a specific type of geometry? Or is it more of like a randomized sides that have 5 sides all the time?
Are you ready? And you remember what I asked you to do, which was listen. And you guys are the first 2 people to ever do this. I also had a different plan for today, which I am going to say because it's okay. And I'm not calling out Takvir, but she was unable to join us. So you guys are helping us finish this.
Cool.
So I would like you to respond to Lauda. Lauda, can you pass the mic? And then find something. So I'll have you screen share and find something that Lauda posted that you think is related, and then answer her question based on your knowledge.
Should I find some related to Voronoi?
Yes, or well, like something that she posted and you think is related. She might not have posted anything related to Voronoi. I don't think you did, because it was a work project that you were working on something else.
Okay.
All right, so Julia, can we watch you work? Can you share your screen, please? Thank you much. And while you're doing that, I also want to thank the people who have joined us in this room. You do not need to respond to me.
I'm trying here to find what Laura posted here, and yeah, I got.
Was that the only time that you used Voronoi for your project, or did you use it on another part of your project too?
I used the Voronoi tool in the beginning of my journey, and preliminary I worked in Grasshopper. I guess the link in my last post. Yeah, what's interesting, I started to work being inspired by bubble, like a soul bubbles, and be trying to figure out what is this and how we can mathematically and physically describe this process. It was really great. And yeah, Peter helped me with this Voronoi system. It's pretty cool structure. And what most interesting for me, how we can apply in real life.
Is it always a pentagon then?
Yeah, I would say that usually in the pentagons, and they based on normal distance from central point to borders. It's like equal distance. Yeah, it depends on number of points.
Also, you specifically said that you wanted 5.
Yeah, I just can set number of points. And I can control, I think, geometry of backgrounds. Yeah. And what's also really cool, like in real design, we can find this algorithm which works in EDFE membrane. Yeah, and Peter posted here. Yeah, we can see it's great photos and images in very contemporary architecture. Different size. This is more symmetrical size of pentagons, but I think it works in script. We can set these parameters.
Interesting. Peter, have you used Voronoi before to either help students with projects or with your own personal project?
I believe I used a version of Voronoi. I've used it many times in support of students who are interested in using it. And I think actually, Julie, if you go back to this one, right there, yes. The other image on that one. And this post, and actually let's close, like just go back to my post. And I want to remember what I wrote. So you would ask me about this, right? And I played with the shape of geometry. And here I'm actually posting the work from another student at the BAC who had suggested that they wanted to make something similar to this. And we understood that Voronoi was a way to do it. And this is how I've related to it. I actually have never used it. I think I used a version of it way back when I was doing my parametric animation master's thesis. It wasn't gaining popularity in terms of the term Voronoi. It was used like very, like just not that many people. Like you had to be very specialized. And I have to admit, I do not understand the math behind this. And you guys just asked a bunch of questions that I don't have the answer to. I really don't, because it normally just gets used as like, this looks cool. And in this example, it does look cool. And the ETFE membrane project that was working on, I actually had some criticism. I didn't at the time because they were working to get something done and I really liked what they were doing, but it seemed a little superficial in nature, in the way in which they were applying it, in that it was just like a shape. And we didn't get into why are we using Voronoi? Why are we using this? And with this, I would like us to move on to a different post and ask another question. Why are we using spaghetti?
Spaghetti?
Yeah, and Julia, can you
Yeah.
help us find this here? And then we're also going to, thank you, Julia, by the way. We're also going to, as you're going to drive, as I call it, and then we just have spaghetti and you just clicked a link. This is amazing. I love what's happening.
Yeah.
So can you pass the mic to Laura? Slide it across the table there. Is it on the table? The mic that's next to you?
In the table.
On the
In
table.
real table.
IRL, in real life.
In your real table. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
And just pass it over to, slide it over to Laura.
You see, we
All right.
can be bartenders.
If anyone at the BAC is watching, this is a truly mixed and confusing reality. Laura, Julia, can you drive? What I mean by that is just move, but don't talk. Just move through, investigate what you find. Laura, what are you seeing? You just comment. You be the voice that's commenting on whatever you're
Oh.
seeing.
Okay, I'm seeing, wait, I cannot see that fast. I'm seeing children art. This seems like that type of like paintings that you like you use a spaghetti, I'm assuming, to like put it on color and then just like move it around in order to create something. I don't know.
I'm gonna let you guys talk.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be right back. So I really just want you to talk.
Is that spaghetti with an H? I didn't know spaghetti was written with an H. That's interesting. But anyway, I think I really like the way that the colors are kind of like working with this artwork right now. Yeah, I don't know if it is like I wonder what the 3 different drawings mean. And I mean, probably this is like a kid having fun with its own imagination as well, but it's definitely interesting the way that they subdivided all of the different forms. Like it goes from like looser to tighter, the way that you're looking at it. So kind of brings perspective to it.
Yeah, next iteration, yeah, based on spaghetti.
I drop a box of spaghetti on the ground and accidentally graduated from art school. Honestly, I feel like this is so subjective all the time that I will totally agree with it too. Like, is this a tower? Is it a pavilion? Is it like a public realm for you to walk through it? Like if you put a couple of scale figures in the bottom, you're all set. You have your midterm project already.
Yeah.
It's definitely interesting.
Let's go this thing.
There you go. So like, wait, let me see, wait. If I grab this and then I'm standing over here
Are you doing something?
Yeah, they're drawing about.
and here,
Oh,
and
this,
then it's
working.
like, there you go. Now you have, look, and then we can have people sitting down here and maybe somebody's standing here saying hi to this other person. There you go. You have an art project now, a whole architecture concept model.
If we download this image, goes on AI, then on the system.
Honestly, yeah, we can create some interesting things from here. I like this. You see, look, you have I was drawing, wait. You have a 4 plate here, and then you have these like going up against this whole thing. Give me like a cute little, I forgot the name of that, like a cabin, a cute little cabin. There you go. Okay. I'm done.
All right. Thank you, by the way. I really like where we got to this. And I'm actually going to share my screen because we are going to, and I'm going to make sure I get my Discord back up because I want to talk a little bit about why spaghetti is there, if I can remember. All right. So we did, by the way, did you suggest that we run some AI?
Yes.
Which is what we did. And I was talking, what do you want to do next, right? So here, me and Oriel were talking, okay? And we were talking about, let's see, do this based on described public feed. This is really interesting. I was talking about lifelong kindergarten. I was talking, which is a MIT media group. We were working through why we would use spaghetti. We have these really interesting models. We Googled it, and I actually posted the full Google search. We were talking about how you get inspired. I think when you're using computational workflows like this, it can be really challenging to find something to do, right? I think I see you guys nodding your head, right? It's like, why, Peter? And actually, this image right here is some of the source material we were working with. And this, to me, really does show something you might see as a traditional sketch, right? I don't know what we call this. If we think about this as a parti, which is actually not a word I like using too much anymore. If we think about this as a sketch, or if we think about it as a conceptual drawing, we talked about how could we actually make that happen in Grasshopper or in Dynamo, and what would the point be? And from there, our conversation led to, oh, it looks like spaghetti. Let's see, I'm actually trying to find where we went back to this. There's this, here's a visualization is what I'm talking about. I got inspired by Peter's basic geometry conversation, the picture with the thin rectangles. All right, let's actually go to that link, basic geometries, and it's this picture right there, dismiss. I believe that we're talking about this image that Connor had posted as a suggestion And this is a very typical image of something that you might use Grasshopper or Dynamo to develop a workflow and to compute or create a computational method that results in that. I think both you, Julia, was about to say Lauda as well, but she stepped away for a second, which is fine. I did the same thing. But when we saw this original image, how did you feel? Did you feel that that was attainable, that we could do that? And what did you think would happen next?
I think,
Yeah, thanks for grabbing the mic.
I think, for example, yeah, in my own process, I try to explore and like rewrite what I'm seeing in very simple language, like the description for kids, and what I'm seeing, what my associations. Yeah, firstly, this is really important to understand what is the next step and how we can talk about this to algorithm in algorithm way. Yeah, and I think, yeah. Yeah,
Good?
yeah.
Should I prompt you with something else? Because where we went from here, right? Here's the visualization of what I was talking about. And close this. And then what we went to, again, the basic geometry I had suggested, and I'm just going to scroll through to prompt my own brain, that we run through, and I think we were talking about this here. Let's see. I think in many of these examples, cool, let's work on this, families by geometry type. Julia, let's talk about some of your work that you were doing. So we have this, and can you explain what's happening in this image? And Lauda, welcome back. Hi.
thank you.
No worries. I got up and left. You can get up and left. If I model the behavior, you can do it, right? I want you to listen, right? And be prepared to like ask questions about this. And Julia, I actually would like you, if you don't mind, can you find it on your screen?
It's fine.
Or you would just want to talk through this? Cool. Can you actually go through and talk technically, like the technical nature that you learned from this? And don't be afraid to say, I didn't understand this tool. It's not the test that I mentioned. Go for it.
Okay, yeah. Firstly, we work this like technically I work these two curves that change shape according to influencer. It was a basic I think tool which we explore to create 2D dimensional geometry. And I think you also mentioning the data gate is a pretty cool and really important working in BIM environment, since this tool connect like Revit environment and BIM, like generative design, and try to explore multiple design options. And being executive efficiency and integrated into a BIM environment, and try to save time and provide more options, calculating different options, not like randomly. Yeah, it's a bit complicated, but very useful for understanding internal processing, like processing.
Thank you. And I want to leave this right here, but most specifically this, right? We have this circle geometry explode model. Like this is a very standard view that we've been looking at, right? And I know that you guys posted more views, but this data gate, whether it's open or closed, and after I get done talking, I'm going to ask Lauda to respond to this and to speculate on what data gate does and how it might integrate into something you were working on or something that you saw in the public feed that you would like to work on. Now, in Dynamo, and we see this connection to Revit, the data gate, remember, data gate is specifically a part of the program that stops the information from calculating. right? And what that does is it's used in generative design in Revit and the Dynamo. There we see this really important workflow where you're able to understand that there are a huge amount of options as developed within the parameters you establish, the inputs and the outputs, and then you're able to stop it so that instead of trying to calculate all those at the same time, which potentially crashes your program or gives you this single view of what you're doing. Let's see if I can find an image here. Oh, we should definitely come back to this post because I think it's hilarious. But instead of, Julia, kind of what you described here, right? This single image is the data gate allows you to then say, no, show me a visual of all the options. I supplied you parameters. For example, I might have two, parameter 1 and parameter 2, and there's a range for parameter 1 and parameter 2. And within the math and all that stuff, I have a million different design options. The data gate is one part in that process that says, cool, calculate all those million things and output me a visualization. So with that said, and knowing full well that there's a complexity to this, Laura, what do you want to respond to and where do you want to bring us into the public feed that you feel is related? And I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen because I would like you to focus on finding something in the public feed and then talk and vocalize your mental thoughts. Julia, can you slide that mic over there? We're back. Thank you.
Great.
I'm also going to give you time, Laura, to like look for something when you're ready. I know you're ready, but I want to say we are going to end this very soon. Mainly because we only had a limited amount of time to do this, and because I actually want us to develop a little bit of FOMO. This is a big trend for me. There's a lot of content. So after we do this final kind of investigation, Laura gives some comments on what she thinks and what she finds on the public feed. We're going to do final comments, see if anyone else wants to ask something, and then we probably will set up another time to do this with me and Takbir and anyone else who wants to join us. Laura, are you ready?
I guess I'm trying to understand the science behind the data gate thing. Like I have some speculations of it.
Speculate away.
Right.
It's not like this is live on YouTube or anything.
Cool. But do you want me to share my screen or no?
I would love so, yes.
Okay, cool. So Julie, I'm gonna make you the star of this thing again. And I saw this within the public feed. That I think it's like another version of the initial image that we were just talking about it as well. And I guess the way that DataGate was being explained is that it calculates some sort of geometry, but it doesn't show it. Is that what it was? So like it calculates something, but it doesn't show it. But I don't know, like is it meant to be showing all of the different type of possibilities that can occur to this? Or is it more of like you are making your own decisions and after that is that you visualize what it is that you want to calculate? Because I'm wondering, like typically, and I'm going back to this, like you can visualize the things that you're doing in Grasshopper directly in Rhino. So I'm wondering whether Grasshopper also has like this sort of like if this is the way that I'm understanding it, if it has a way of like doing like a data gate type of thing where you're gonna start doing things without necessarily having to visualize them right away, or is it more of like you visualize all of the different type of combinations that can happen to then let you decide? Like I'm in between what it actually does based on that.
Can you go in the different channel? So the recordings, and then this recording that you see there, which is generative design introduction. Let's open that up and play that in the background here. You can see this image, which is a great image. And you can see me wearing yellow with a much fuller beard. This is actually almost a year ago that I recorded that. And actually, you just give it a play from where it's
Is
at.
this a real video?
Yeah.
How do I play this?
Oh, sorry, you have to click that. It's
Oh, okay.
deceiving. Yeah. And let's mute it. Thank you. Now we have this, you question which version of Peter is the real Peter. Will the real Peter please stand up? And then this is going to be where we end this conversation,
increasing
because
this
this is getting after some really interesting developing workflows. And Julia, you might also have some things to say about this. I think you played with this and you were interested. And what I want to make very clear is that Revit and Dynamo has very much monopolized in many ways on what we consider as generative design. Computational design, we talk about this in many other classes, is different than generative design. What we see on the left side of there is these palettes, these templates, and we're doing a 3-box template. And what you're going to do is you're actually building your own, what I call building your own computer program, your own software within the Revit and Dynamo environment by setting up the inputs, the outputs, the data gate. And then there, it's going to show you a bunch of options. So there, that is what we see. And that's why the data gate exists, is so that it can run that calculation and then show you a visualization of the number of design options that it generated. And more importantly, which we might go back to, a data visualization of the inputs and outputs graphed. And in this video, you can see what I'm doing is I'm just setting up 3 boxes. Now, does 3 boxes seem exciting? No, but it is exciting if you think about it as a tower, right? And it is exciting there, that weird, crazy graph at the bottom, right? That's giving you all this feedback. And actually, in one of the other classes, one of the students asked me early on, how can I learn? Like, not how can I learn, but they were in many ways demanding. I use this word, importantly, demanding that I teach them how to do these kind of things so they could build optimization tools for their firm to say, we need 80% sunlight or something through our windows. And then calculate that if I do a 3-box scenario where my parameters for one of the boxes is that it needs to be half the size of the other box. How does that impact the amount of solar gain I get by having an 80% facade of glass as opposed to the other one? And that is a somewhat reductive way of doing this. And also this video, Laura, can you skip ahead to maybe 3/4 through there? You know, it's a, how long was that video? About 22 minutes. Actually, it's a pretty quick introduction. I encourage people to check that out. I'm not sure if this is publicly available or if this is behind joining the BAC community. But within there, again, it's a lot of setup. And what is very cool is you are building essentially a computer program, a program of your own, integrated into the Revit environment, the BIM environment, that then can do what you want. And so I'm going to leave my primary discussion at that, with one last thing I want to say is very similar. And Laura, if you can help us get to a visual. I don't want you guys to feel that what Revit shows you, what Autodesk shows you in its graphics and visuals is the only thing you can do. I want you to be imaginative, and I want you to wonder and wander into what you're doing, even if that means, much like we see in the bottom of this graph, that you're working with spaghetti. And Laura, can you go back to Discord and find those spaghetti images? And let's leave it at that. I think that was one of the more captivating parts of the class we got to. And that's where I think I want us to quickly speculate on where we would go from something like that. And that there we see, right? I was actually just running Midjourney AI things about spaghetti because we were having trouble gaining traction on what we were doing. But this to me is much more captivating. So with all that said, I will end us at after the two of you have a chance to say anything you want to add to the end of this. Laura, you can go first, then you can pass the mic to Julia. And if anyone else wants to talk, they can in the chat or whatever, but please. let's end this live session of the review of the work.
I think it was definitely a major change to kind of hear and like hear the process of the images rather than reading about them and just seeing images from it. And also like tying back examples that are related to surprisingly past classes to this class. Definitely added some more insight to all of the programs that we've been seeing and learning. So I think it's definitely like a different perspective of how do we see things and how do we think about generative design. So I really enjoyed this live and the class overall.
I also, support Laura's thoughts about this, and I find this tool is pretty useful, especially in current time. Then we have limited resources like a time and other like architectural conditions, and then we learn how to operate by using some parameters and optimize our work. I think it's really like powerful.
Thank you. And we're just going to take a moment to finish scrolling all the way back to the top. And I want to very much endorse that I have cut this time short so that we come back to these topics. And actually, I firmly hope that you guys do not stop your investigations into computational workflows. And you might even come back to this Discord server or consider jumping from here and all the work we did back on to, oh my gosh, we got to stop at some of these because I think this is a great image that was posted in one of the classes previously about my role in this class. This is actually way back when me and Kyle Martin were teaching this class in a different format about what we are doing, which was somewhat force feeding Dynamo, which I also feel sometimes can like Autodesk has a monopoly. And we don't always have to use Dynamo or Revit. We can use Grasshopper. We can use Rhino. We can use other tools. I used a tool called Paracloud Gem for my master's thesis, which was some other person's graduate research project somewhere else in the world. And please do consider participating in a similar way on the BAC DME Discord server in our public feed and bringing these conversations forward. So thank you again, everyone. We will leave it at there and say goodbye.